Hi guys, it's Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Today I'm going to be decorating this glitter, sublimation glitter tote bag from Artesprix. This thing is beautiful, number one, and it is really big. So that's why I'm zoomed out a little bit more than normal on my desk. So this is about, I think it's about 12 inches wide and 14 inches tall from the bottom to the zipper. So I'm going to be adding kind of a big design here. So let's go ahead and get started. So first I wanted to show you where it is on the website. So if you go to Artesprix and you just do a search for the tote, you'll find the Artesprix 2-pack sublimation glitter tote bags. There's actually different ones on the website. This is the glitter one I'm using, but they do have a linen one, I believe. But the thing that's most important, the reason I want you to see this is because you need to find out what the heat and temperature needs to be for your project whenever you're doing any kind of sublimation. So if we just scroll down here, it has downloads. And it looks like it's got information there. I'm not even going to look at that at the moment. I will look at that in a bit. But right now I want to look at the instructions. So in the instructions, it shows you that you need to use a flat heat press. So not a cup one or anything like that. But we're going to be heating for 45 seconds. And I am writing this down as we speak. 45 seconds. At 385 degrees Fahrenheit, medium pressure. Next, we're going to need a design. Now, the one I picked for this project is from We Can Make That, sorry. And it is one of her free files, so I have already downloaded it. It's this cute one with the palm trees, vacation mode, it says. I just love that. I'm sorry. I am from Florida and I love all things palm trees. So that's the design I'm going to be using today. And you can get that at her website. I will leave a link down in the description below. And next we're going to need a way to be able to work with our design. Now what I'm planning on doing is cutting it out using my scan and cut. Now I'm going to be using Artesprix products for all of my sublimation piece in this project today. I don't have a sublimation printer, but you know what? That is totally fine, because if you've got the sublimation markers and the sublimation paints and inks, all of the fun things that they create over at Artesprix, you can definitely do this project and use sublimation. Or you could also do this in vinyl. I'm going to be using sublimation today, and I think that's going to turn really, really pretty over this glitter bag. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the SVG, and there's a couple of ways to bring that into my canvas workspace from Brother, and I'm just going to click and drag it over. I'm assuming it's going to work because when I do the click and drag, it does have that little plus sign beside my cursor, so it should work. And there it is. So that is basically what I'm going to be using for my design, right? And it's in a couple of different pieces, which is great. We've got one for vacay, one for mode, and one for the sun and palm trees. Now what I'm going to do at this point is I need to make this bigger. Each of these grids here are an inch wide. Let me go ahead and just get this a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. And I am going to click on this corner piece and just drag that to make this bed bigger. If I make this 8.5 inches to 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think 9 inches is going to be just about perfect. I want it to be nice and big. I'm also going to make sure that I have it on my grid line so I've got the measurement exactly 9, because, you know, if you want to make sure it's duplicatable, that's kind of what you do. This is going to be a pretty big piece. So I'm going to have to use an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, I'm going to have to make this one a little bit smaller, or it's going to be bigger than my 8.5 by 11. Of course, this piece here, my sun, is only 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a little over 7. So I could do it in 2 pieces. I think that is what I'm going to go with. So next, what I need to do is I need to get the sublimated paper taken care of. Okay, so I've got a piece of cardstock here and some of my sublimation ink pads. I'm going to start off with some yellow. So I'm thinking maybe doing something of a sunrise or sunset sort. I'm going to try for a sunset, but of course I never know for sure. And I'm just putting some of the ink down. Now, one reason why I want to do it on cardstock is it's going to be easier to blend. I can already tell that this is going down really, really bold. So next I'm going to come in, I think I'm going to go ahead and put some red down next because I do have an orange where I can blend in between. Okay, so we've got that. Next I'm going to come in with some blue at the top, and then I'm going to finish it up with some purple between them. So next what I need to do is I need to send this image over to my Scan and Cut. I'm going to come up here to File, and then just tell it to export or transfer the FCM file. FCM is the name of the file extension that Brother Scan and Cut uses. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And you can either export it to a file, export it to the Scan and Cut using the cable, or over the internet. Now I have mine set up with Wi-Fi, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that one. If you don't have it set up with Wi-Fi or attached to a cable, you would use the export FCM file and then put that on a flash drive, a USB stick, to plug into your Scan and Cut to get the file over there. We're going to go ahead and do this one. That's the fastest way for me. And it says that it is ready to download it over at the machine. So let's go ahead and head over to my Scan and Cut. Over here at my Scan and Cut, the next thing we need to do is retrieve the data. So I'm going to click Retrieve Data, and I want it to come from my computer via the cloud. I believe that's the one. And there is the design. So everything looks great so far. I need to do this piece. This right here is basically where we scan our paper into the machine, so we're going to be able to see that it's all lined up the way that we want it. So I'm going to click that one. We're going to scan our paper in. I've already got it down on my mat. Okay, so this does look good, but I'm going to have to adjust. But I think I need to move the paper down a bit to make sure that I get the whole thing. So let me go ahead and do that. And it looks like it needs to go down probably about 1.5 to 2 inches. So let me go ahead and move it, and then we will rescan it. Okay, so that does look better. It does have a little bit of white up at the top. Don't really want that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit Edit, and I'm going to select the whole thing. So select all. And then I'm going to move it all down just a little bit. So that basically means that my sublimation design, this whole thing here, the bottom of it's not going to have any color. But that's okay. I think that's going to still look pretty cool. It might have a little bit because I know that it does shade out a little bit, but you can see there's a bit down there at the bottom that doesn't have any color. Now, one way I can fix this if I don't want it to do that is I could just add some more color to the cardstock. Okay, that looks fabulous. I'm thinking where I positioned it is a little bit lower than before because there is that little tiny bit of white up at the top, so I am going to shift it down just a smidge more. So select all. And then hit the moving button and then just give it a few taps and move it down a little bit. Okay, one other thing that I do need to do though is I need to get rid of the vacation mode. Vacay mode needs to go away. So I'm going to go Edit again. I'm going to select just those bits. So we can select individual. So right now it's just got the E selected, so I'm going to delete. I'm just going to go in and delete each individual. It's been a little bit since I've done this, so I have forgotten how to delete everything except my main image, but that's okay because this works just as well. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. So that is all selected, hit OK, and then we're going to say please select. So it's asking us what do we want to do. I want to cut. I'm going to do a test cut. And I think I'm going to move my little test cut. You can maybe see that little triangle at the bottom. I'm going to move it off to the side a bit so it's closer to the edge, and just a little bit up to make sure it's out on the cardstock. And the reason we do this is we want to make sure that we're going to get a clean cut all the way through on the rest of our design, right? And I just put my weeding tool under, and that looks like it did fine. So now I can go ahead and cut the whole thing. So we're going to go ahead and hit start, and it's going to start cutting our design. And it is all done. So let's go ahead and go back to the desk, and we're going to take a look at this, how it cut. Okay, so there we go. We also have this where we could use the palm trees for another project. I think that would be pretty cool. But this is the bit that we are going to use for our design on our bag. We also need to do those words. So what I did is I took a regular piece of cardstock and I covered it in the black ink. Now you look at it, it looks brown. I told you everything is going to be a bit muted. So we're going to cut the words out of this piece basically by doing the same thing that we just did for the main design. For the words, we're going to be putting those on some black cardstock, and I realize now that I should have, it's not important at this moment, I should have mirrored everything before starting to do any of my cutting. That just means that my trees are going to be facing the opposite direction. That is totally fine. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into edit. I'm going to grab just that top word, because that's what these little arrow things are for. You can grab what you want. Grab that and move everything over. Move that entire word over onto the cardstock and position it so that it is, everything is on the black. Okay, and now I can go and do the same thing and grab the other one. Okay, it did not release the other, so let's do that again. So I still had this one selected. Don't do that. Now I'm going to select this one and just select the vacay. Okay. Oh, it did select it. I just didn't see it. I am so sorry, guys. This is basically trial and error, and the more you use it, the more familiar you're going to get with all of the controls. Let me go ahead and move this onto my cardstock. You'll notice that it's not facing exactly where it can fit onto the cardstock, so I need to adjust the angle on here. To do that, we go back into Object Edit, and then we go to this one, which is a rotation, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees, which is a bit too much, so I'll come back and just do it by 10 degrees. That fits on there, but let's move it over a little bit still. Okay, so let's see how that looks. So it looks like they're not going to be overlapping at all. Okay, let's go ahead and hit OK. So next I'm going to get this guy ready to go. We've got a temperature of 385. For 45 seconds. So I'll go ahead and set that. Just double checking. Temperature 385 and time for 45 seconds. I'll set this one off to the side and give it a chance to heat up. Now we'll go ahead and put our design onto our bag. Oh gosh, that is going to be gorgeous. Okay, yeah, got my heat tape out, so I'm going to go ahead and start taping everything in place, starting off with this lovely, lovely, lovely sunset. And I did see a place where it was shifted a little bit, so I've got a little bit here that I don't like, so can hardly tell that there's a mistake there, but it is an error where my machine didn't cut quite right. So from the back, just because of the way that the angle of that cut is, I'm going to trim it, and you're not going to be able to tell that it was an oops. And now I'm going to place this about in the center. So I think that looks like it's probably about in the right spot. So let me go ahead and start taping that down. And just to be on the safe side, because I don't want anything shifting, I'm going to be using probably quite a bit of heat tape. You do want to make sure that you use heat tape and not Scotch tape or anything like that, because heat tape protects the surfaces of everything from transferring the ink where you don't want it. Okay, before I tape down the top edge, I need to place my vacay mode down. So since I did go back and reverse this and mirror it, I'm able to put it in place right. So I dropped the E on the floor. Let me grab that. And let's go ahead and tape our words in place, and then I can add a little bit more tape onto that sunset. And then a little bit more tape to make sure this doesn't move around. Okay, so now my heat press is all ready to go. So what I need to do next is put down a hot mat, a mat to protect my desk from the heat, and then I need some protective paper. So I'm going to want to use 2 sheets, one for the top, one for the bottom. I'll put this underneath my blank. Actually, I think this one might want to go inside. Let me check the surface on the inside. I probably should have done this before. So it looks like it's fairly substantial in there, but I am going to be extra cautious. Let's see if this is big enough. Yeah, I'm going to put this one on the inside underneath my design. There we go. And then I'll place this one over the top. And I think we should be good. You always want to use your protective paper on both sides of your blank. Okay, so this is all heated up and ready to go. So now I can go ahead and press it. And it looks like I'm going to do it in 2 steps to make sure I get coverage of everything. And let's start... Actually, I may do 3. I'm going to start at the top. Let's go ahead and put that down and then hit the Cricut symbol and wait 45 seconds. Okay. And I'm going to move it over and go again, going straight down on it. Go for another 45 seconds. I'm trying to make sure that I don't shift anything at all. If I shift it at all, it's possible that we'll get some ghosting, but I think I'm doing pretty good. Okay, and then one more time down here to cover the last of the bottom. And again, hitting that Cricut symbol and waiting 45 seconds. Okay, so let's take a look. A little quick sneak peek. Let's look underneath one of the letters. And we do have good transfer on the letters. That's good. And looks like we do have good transfer of the color. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what this actually is going to look like. So we've got... It's also a little warm. Okay. Vacay. Vacay mode. Okay, let's go look at this. Oh, this is gorgeous. Oh, I am loving this. This turned out fabulous. And there wasn't, it doesn't look like there was any kind of transfer to the paper on the inside, so we probably didn't need it, but isn't that pretty? I am so happy with this. So now I've got myself a new bag, and that's going to finish up this project using a new blank from Craft Express along with my Artesprix inks. You guys have a wonderful day. Be sure to check out this playlist to see some more projects where I'm going to be using some more things from Craft Express and along with Artesprix. And you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.